jumbo scampi. For limited...
All for a price that will make you...
How the hell am I supposed to pee?
You're listening to BAMF, UK Comic Book Radio.
Good afternoon, Buffalo Soldiers. I am Bertie Kempson. This is BAMF Comic Book Radio, your weekly comics podcast with news reviews and odd points of views. Joining me today is Lucas. Say hello.
Howdy.
Fee, say hello.
Hello.
And Sarah, say hello.
Hello.
We're here to give you news, and obviously the news and the odd points of view in your face holes. So we're going to start with the news. Okay, so I'm going to open on the news that George Perez has gone exclusive to Boom Studios. It's the second after Paul Jenkins, big creator, to go exclusive, and it's pretty big news considering that for the most part Perez has been with DC and Marvel, mostly DC, for a large number of years. I think 20 years, maybe a bit more. Long old while. Apart from that, I haven't heard why. I don't think anyone's really heard why, apart from just that Boom Studios seems to be offering him what DC and Marvel can't. Some more creator-owned stuff, his own personal stuff, his own time, and just fun, I guess. I'm hearing Boom Studios is a decent studio to work for, as opposed to DC and their communist regime. Yeah, so that's that. That's big news. And second of all, Amazon, the large supermarket in the sky, or the internet, has started their own comics imprint. It is Jet City Comics, and it launched a little while ago with their first book, Symposium, what an idiot, #1, by Christian Cameron and Dmitry Bonrannikov. I did a name. And so this came out. They're doing the sci-fi fantasy genres they're hitting, and it seems to be in something called I don't know if anyone's heard this, the Four World Saga. It sounds like adaptations from something called the Four World Saga. So look out for that wherever you can. I possibly will to give a review and see what it's like. It sounds pretty decent if they're hitting sci-fi and fantasy. You know, something that isn't superheroes is always nice. So yeah, I'll be checking that out.
I've Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin is having a short story. His short story Meat House Man is being adapted by this imprint, which sounds quite interesting. Okay. It should be released in October of this year. Okay,
wow. So they're getting some big talent on, which is always a nice thing for small publishers to do. You know, attract the bigger names. Although saying that, real quick, George R.R. Martin writing something else that isn't Game of Thrones, kind of wish he'd hurry up and get that last book out.
Meat House Man was written years and years and years
ago. Was it? That doesn't surprise me, actually. Everything he seems to have written was done years ago.
I think actually the TV show, which is actually slowing up the production of the next book, and yeah, it takes like 8 years to write each volume.
I bloody knew it. Anyway, so that's that. Look out for it, like I said. I hear they're doing print and digital stuff. Straight off the bat, they're going digital, which obviously is no surprise there. Everyone is. And my last bit of news will be Guardians of the Galaxy. We're finally getting something this close to San Diego Comic-Con. They've released 3 actors with their roles. We got Benicio
del Toro.
There we go. Benicio del Toro will be playing the Collector, the Elder of the Universe, the Collector. Held one of the Infinity Gems way back when. So far he's the only Elder confirmed for the film. Lee Pace, I personally haven't heard of this actor. He will be Ronan the Accuser, and he will be starting as a villain, as Ronan did in the books. And then you've got Karen Gillan from Doctor Who fame, will be Nebula, the space pirate, who I think has ties to Thanos. Still no news on who will be Thanos, but with SDCC 1 week away, we're expecting a big panel, like an Avengers-style union of all the cast, where hopefully we'll get the ball rolling on who's who, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, Thanos, all the big ones that people can't wait for.
I really can't wait. for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. After I've really kind of like, they're definitely like my favourite Marvel team. So, and also apparently the release date for the movie is the 2nd of August next year, which is 3 days before my birthday. So, you guys know what you can take me to.
Yes. The cinema to see Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Oh, you son of a...
Yes. No, I'm joking. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be like a Star Wars meets Avengers epic, which will be so good. Can't wait for it. Especially Rocket Raccoon and Groot. Come on. They need their own like spin-off film. Buddy cops in space. Getting too old for this shit.
Groot can be Danny Glover.
Yes, can you imagine if Groot was voiced by Danny Glover? Groot's getting too old for this shit.
Okay, what's the next bit of news then?
Alright, next bit of news. Fee, I hear there's Marvel Knights coming.
Yes, Marvel has just announced that in the autumn they're going to launch a new Marvel Knights imprint. It's a bit of a surprise, actually. It was one of the last things I was expecting them to announce. So for anybody who doesn't know, the last Marvel Knights imprint, which appeared, was a good 10 years ago or more, I suppose.
Yeah, a little more than that.
Yeah, more than that, longer than that. The idea of the Marvel Knights imprint originally was that they would be sort of a comics sort of with high-profile characters in that were kind of like a self-contained limited series that sort of did something outside the norm and would challenge readers to sort of rethink how they perceive some of their favourite characters. So you had Spider-Man, Daredevil, and a few others. And this new imprint, which is coming in autumn, there's going to be an X-Men, a Hulk, and a Spider-Man. And they're predominantly indie creative teams, names that we've sort of seen associated with indie comics previously, really. What I'm most pleased about is the Spider-Man one, which is going to be written by Matt Kint, who's not a name I am massively familiar with. He's going to be writing that one, but it is going to be Peter Parker. So none of this Superior Spider-Man nonsense. No Spock, no Otto. It is Peter Parker. So I am in. I think each one is 5 issues. And the first one comes in October, third in November, and the final one in December.
I'm excited for this. If I remember correctly, wasn't the Kevin Smith Daredevil tied into Marvel Knights?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Yeah, and that's it. That pretty much paved the way for the 10 years worth of brilliant Daredevil stories that went from Smith, Brubaker, Bendis, like they obviously not in that order. So yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah.
Especially with the X-Men treatment, you know, loving the X-Men at the minute. What can I say?
Yeah. No, sounds really great. Can't wait for that. Need a bit of Peter back in my life. Sooner rather than later. Speaking of Spider-Man and Peter, Andrew Garfield has been in the news this week because he did an interview with Entertainment Weekly, and a lot of news sites have been reporting that Garfield said that he would want a gay or a bisexual Peter Parker. He didn't actually say that. He was sort of joking, but what he actually said was, why can't we discover that Peter is exploring his sexuality maybe? It's hardly a groundbreaking thing if they were going to go down that route. So everybody was posting links to this left, right and centre all over Facebook and all over Twitter, and waiting for several fans' heads to explode. I know a few people were tweeting me thinking that my head was going to explode because this would be something, you know, that I wouldn't be happy about because I don't like the character of Peter Parker being messed about with. But actually, I'd be fine with it. You know, if they decided to do that, it would be cool with me. You know, it's not something that would fundamentally change the character from my point of view. And Pete, just like everybody else, can love whoever he likes. But you know, I don't think it's actually going to happen. And I don't think Garfield will say that he actually, you know, wanted it to happen. He was sort of going out of his way to make sure it happened. He just said that, you know, if not, why not? So.
Well, I suppose that they could always make Spock bisexual.
Boom. Dr. Octopus is bisexual.
You know,
Yeah, I don't know if I want to think about
I
him.
think, you know, that'd be hilarious. You know, Spock, you know.
Making out with Flash Thompson.
Yeah. That's just one of my all-time top favourite fantasies. So, you know.
And on that note, moving on. Next, more Marvel news, Marvel film news this time. So it looks like we're going to be getting an X-Force film. So this is something that excites me quite a lot. I love X-Force as a team, both the old team and the Uncanny X-Force team. So, yeah.
Can I just ask, X-Force as opposed to X-Men, X-Factor, any other X group, what are they about?
Okay, X-Force is, so they are X-Men, all of them, but the kind of idea of X-Force is that they're sort of more of the harder edge team of X-Force. They're the kind of guys that will go out and actually kind of kill people to get things done. So in the most recent incarnation of X-Force, Wolverine was in charge of it, and they sort of put together a Black Ops team, if you like, that would go and do things that the public face of the X-Men couldn't be seen to be doing.
Didn't they kill I think the child version of Apocalypse or something? I remember reading something like that. I remember just watching Deadpool feeding bits of himself to Archangel.
Yeah, the whole Apocalypse Archangel thing comes in Remender's Uncanny X-Force run, which I think you've probably heard me say just more times than is probably necessary, but it's one of the best runs in modern comics of recent years, and I keep saying it. Read it. It's absolutely brilliant. However, I think this film is probably more going to be based on sort of like old school X-Force rather than the more recent stuff, although you do have crossover characters between the older team and the newer team.
That's not such a terrible thing.
No, I don't think so either. I think you do need to have a little bit of a crossover to make it work. I know Rob Liefeld has been on Twitter saying,
"Oh God,
yeah," he's been saying quite a lot about it. Obviously because of his involvement with the original X-Force and
my X-Force, all my characters, give me some money.
That's pretty much what's been going on. You should say that. Have you been reading his Twitter feed for the last 2 or 3 days?
Never in my life. I haven't read anything he's written.
No. I'll try and avoid it, has to be said. But for the purposes of this news item, I did have to go and do some research. But he said that he could see it being more of the kind of classic X-Force team. So characters like Deadpool and Cable and Boom Boom maybe, and Domino. You know, so, and whether they then tie that in with some of the characters from the more modern run, from the more recent runs, so you maybe stick Wolverine in there.
I want Phantom X.
I would love Phantom X. That would be my...
Female, and all of them, or just one? Female, evil, and normal?
Just the one Phantom X with the 3 brains rather than 3 separate bodies. I think I'd just take that one. I would love to see that, would love to. So it looks like it's pretty much confirmed, although they're probably going to be announcing this at SDCC next week. But Fox has actually registered the domain X-Force the film as a domain, so that's a pretty good indication. And also Rob Liefeld, whether he was supposed to say this on Twitter or not, said that he'd been talking to Jeff Wadlow, who's directing Kick-Ass 2. And has said that he's actually down to write and direct the X-Force film. So I'm not sure whether he's confirming things that he's not supposed to confirm yet. But yeah, so that sounds like Wadlow will be doing it. Obviously there's plenty of time to change before the film actually happens. But we shall wait and see. It's also rumoured that there's a Magneto film in development as well.
That's meant to, the Magneto rumours were like meant to be there way back in
yeah, wasn't there going to be like a
original trilogy came?
Yeah, they were going to do an Origins film, weren't they, about a couple of characters. There was going to be Wolverine and then there was going to be Magneto.
I think after the bomb that was Wolverine, they sort of pulled back the idea and was like, oh no, that's why they fitted a origin into X-Men First Class of Magneto.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, if they do this, it could be their way in. If they do this and they do it well, it could be their way into several different things. So whether you get Magneto and also maybe finally Deadpool's solo movie.
Yeah, the way they did Deadpool in Origins, I genuinely
I think they're mostly forgetting about that, especially from what I've pieced together with the trailers of the Wolverine. They're just not acknowledging anything from that.
Although Deadpool did have the coolest moment in the entire film because he slashed a bullet in half.
That's always
which is pretty cool.
Although I do it on a daily basis, so whatever. I'm looking forward to the idea of an X-Men shared universe, but I am worried that they might not hit it right. Some X-Men films weren't that great.
Yeah, obviously. I think a lot is going to hinge on what happens in Days of Future Past, because I'm already confused about how they are, and also with the Wolverine, obviously, which is coming out in a couple of weeks. I'm a bit confused about how they're going to knit all of this mess of continuity that they've created together. Because Jean Grey is in the Wolverine, and what is going on?
It's time travel, right? They could just say time travel.
Yeah. So, but we'll see if they do it and they do it well, and then this X-Force film can launch off the back of Days of Future Past. And then, as I said, after that, if it's done well, the possibilities...
Imagine if we got an X-Factor movie.
Yeah, oh, Matt.
That'd be so good.
So you say X-Factor, I just picture a bunch of X-Men singing.
Not Simon Cowell judging X-Men on their powers. I'm talking about the detective agency led by Madrox, Multiple Man, messing things up by multiplying everyone. Oh, it'd be so cool.
I think I'd still prefer a movie with Wolverine singing and Simon Cowell just saying no and then getting stabbed
in the face.
Also one of my all-time top favourite fantasies.
I can't wait to discover the others as we go through the show, Lucas.
Wait till we get into hot coffee.
Okay, and again, moving on. Sarah, I think you had a couple of news items for us.
Yeah, a couple of things have come up in the last week. One was DC has launched their app for, it's called a DC Entertainment Events app, for use at SDCC next week. So if anybody's going, they can use the app to plan out their schedule, what they're doing, where they want to go and see the signings and that sort of thing. More importantly for me is that they're also going to they're going to be releasing news stories and photos and that through it as well, which for anybody not going will be really, really useful. So I'm considering getting that just to find out what's going on. It's a hell of a lot easier to follow it through that than it is through Twitter, for example. The other news story we got is about the British Comic Awards. This is something that launched last year at the Thought Bubble Convention in Leeds in November. It's going to now be an annual thing, basically just to celebrate and reward top British talent in comics. They announced the judges this week, which has got some people, I was quite surprised of them. The first one is a guy called Gareth David, who is the lyricist and singer in the band Los Campesinos, who I vaguely know of. I have no idea the connection to comics, but there you go, I assume he does. Then there's also Lenny Henry, which I'm more excited about. And then there's the manager of Page 45, which I think is in Nottingham. Graham Linehan? I'm not sure. I think he's Glinner on Twitter anyway.
Yeah.
Linehan, thanks. Then there's Josie Long, who's a comedian, and Sarah McIntyre, who I know, I've been to follow her on Twitter. She does a lot of stuff to do with comics and children's picture books. So yeah, they're all the judges for it. I guess obviously some of them obviously have comic experience. I wasn't really aware Lenny Henry did until this was announced, but there you go. His bio says he collects rare Marvel, DC and comics. Interesting to find out what the Los Campesinos guys connect.
They were mentioned. I know that they were mentioned in the second volume of Phonogram. One of their songs activated a magic spell.
Okay. You know the band then, presumably?
Just through Phonogram. And I've researched them. They're pretty decent band.
I've got their first album, and I think I've seen them live as well, but somewhere in the mists of time.
They're decent.
Say that again. What'd you say, Sarah?
I was going to say Thought Bubble in November is when the ceremony is taking place. So presumably the judges will be there as well. And as I think we're actually now all going to Thought Bubble, that would be I wouldn't certainly want to go to the ceremony. I probably just want to go and fangirl over Lenny Henry, actually. But I'll try not to be too embarrassing to the rest of you, presumably you want to join me at that. If anybody wants to nominate any comics for the awards, anybody can nominate things. The qualifying criteria is that it must be the work of a wholly British creative team, and the rights to the work should belong either to the creators or a UK publisher. If you do want to nominate something, go to the website britishcomicawards.com and it'll give you information on how to do it. The ones that won last year were a pretty good selection of comics. I can't remember offhand what they were, but they've got categories like Best Comic, Best Book, Emerging Talent, Hall of Fame, Young People's Comic Awards. I think it's a really good thing for the industry, and it should be interesting to see what comes up for it and what wins. And that's all my news.
Lucas, you tell us what we've been reading. Now,
Well, I'm not going to tell you what you've been reading, but I'll tell you what I've been reading this week. I'll be honest, I've been a bit there's not really been anything this week that I've really kind of been reading. I read two things. I read Avengers issue 15, which is all part of the Prelude to Infinity thing, which is something that I'm really looking forward to. So I suppose I'll start with that. I still have no idea what's happening.
you are not the only one.
Yeah.
Can I just say, been reading it, sorry Phil, I didn't mean to bump into you there, but I'm guessing you're in the same boat, Feet. Reading it from number one, and don't know what's happening. I love Hickman, but his ideas are just way big.
My problem is I genuinely have no idea who about half the characters are, which, because I saw Prelude to Infinity on issue 14, and I was like, I'm going to pick that up right now. And I was reading through it, and I was like, I have no idea what any of this means.
Oh man. Yeah, I guess that is a bad thing, because of the 14 issues prior, they have been introducing a lot of characters, and the newer ones they've been giving a bit of backstory to. So I guess that is important, but seeing as it's a prelude, I thought they would at least give you a quick rundown of who's who, and then got on with the story.
But yeah, no, to my knowledge, this is bridging it, or how this bridges into Infinity is, well, to those of you who don't know, a group called the Builders have launched like a bunch of origin bombs at Earth that seem to be trying to make Earth regenerate or do stuff that it's not meant to, and it's causing like weather anomalies, things like that, and it's producing these weird little weird kind of constructs that are building things. So the Avengers get involved and they try and take it down, these guys, and then fights start appearing, and some big adamantium looking dude from space appears. So I'm confused, but to my knowledge, this is what apparently the Avengers will leave Earth after this in an attempt to unite the galaxy against these Builders guys, and then Thanos is going to be like, "Sup, Earth," and come smack Earth in, and that'll be the end of Marvel Comics because Thanos will win.
Will we be renaming Marvel Comics to Thanos Comics?
No, yes,
yeah?
actually. Yeah,
okay.
That's that. There you go, 100% truth. But no, like I said, I have no idea what's happening. It's a bit boring. How else can I sum it up?
I'd agree with you. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This Avengers run just does not feel like an Avengers book, and it just keeps losing me. I am just finding it a bit dull.
Yeah, that's it. That's the best way to actually, but took the words right out of my mouth.
I've been trying to counteract that. What I've been doing, I've been letting them build up for a few issues, and I'm going to read them in one big bunch, because I've been finding it harder to read them as single issues monthly, or at the beginning, double month, because it just would flow, it would be jarring, you know? But I think if I sat down and read them all in one, maybe it'd be a bit smoother.
Yeah, I don't think it will, but let us know if it does.
I will.
I mean, I like the art at points, but I know, my biggest thing, I don't like the way Captain America's drawn, or his outfit. This is the first time I've seen Captain America since kind of like Marvel Now. And I'm like, what?
They've updated his costume to the movie costume.
Yeah, he looks too movie inspired, but it just doesn't look good.
I hate the helmet, hate it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Who's the artist on issue 15?
Comic to hand. I know the artist from issue 14.
I guess that's something.
Yep, it is Nick Spencer. Not Nick Spencer,
right.
Stefano Caselli.
Okay.
There we go. I hope I pronounced that right.
He's a really good artist though, so.
Yeah, no, just a few bits, like, it looks fine, it looks fine in some panels, you're like, oh yeah, that looks nice, okay, and then you're like, ugh.
Oh no.
It's like eating a cake, right? And then finding out that the filling is like salt or something.
Nice analogy.
Yeah, you've been getting your cakes, man, Jesus.
But yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's a prelude as well, which I guess doesn't really make sense until the main series and you'll find out what it's all been building to.
Yeah, you never know, when Infinity actually, happens, you might be like, oh my god! Issue 15 now makes sense and is amazing.
Yeah. You just have to stop reading every comic because everything fits and works in harmony.
Yeah. But, other than that, meh. No, not really. I'll keep picking it up because I'm a sucker for these big events, so. You can take my money, Marvel. The other thing I've been reading, is, latest issue of Batman.
Yes.
Year Zero. How good is this?
So good. So good.
It is. Well, let's get down with it first. Let's I'm pretty sure that most people know about Batman Year Zero, and for those
we're gonna spoil stuff.
Yeah, get ready for spoilers. Batman Year Zero is basically what happened to Batman just before he became Batman. So, think not Batman Year 1, but just before Batman Year 1. So it's kind of like how Batman eventually, basically becomes Batman and stops being Bruce Wayne. And it's fantastic. It's really good. And it looks like, right, that they've kind of introducing maybe a proper origin for the Joker. I'm not 100% sure if it's the Joker or not, but there's this gang called the Red Hood Gang that have been terrorizing Gotham, and they all wear these Red Hood masks. They don't have names, they have numbers. And Red Hood number 1, he seems to have the Joker's smile. The Joker's kind of very, in my opinion, kind of significant nose. He has a very pointy nose. And his entire attitude, he keeps saying to Batman or Bruce Wayne in a latex mask, he keeps saying to him, me and you, we're kind of like two sides, the same coin, yada yada yada. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. And Capullo's art as well. Once again, I can't praise the man enough.
So beautiful. I love how this story, Gotham is a lot brighter and a lot shinier and everything looks new. It doesn't look like a downtrodden Gotham normally does.
But you can still kind of see, the darker side of Gotham layered beneath it.
I think it's kind of like a metaphor for Batman's not here, so Gotham looks better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's that.
Batman shows up.
However, what Year Zero also marks is, I think, the first proper appearance of the Riddler in the New 52.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's this
a couple of backups.
Really cool kind of little chat that the Riddler and Bruce Wayne have inside a museum. Because Bruce Wayne's uncle has been secretly selling weapons to the Red Hood Gang. And he's fed up with Bruce Wayne, pretending to be dead. So he asked Bruce to meet him at this museum. And they get ready to talk, and he's like, I'm sorry, Bruce, but, I can't have you just staying dead. And he flicks on the light switch, and it's like a welcome back Bruce party. And there's a bunch of people there. So Bruce is like, right, crap, I gotta get out of here. And he walks into an Egyptian kind of part of the cinema. Egyptian part of the museum. And Edward Nygma, not the Riddler, but Edward Nygma is, waiting there. And there's this cool page where it's kind of like an old Egyptian board game where the Riddler is kind of presenting Bruce with veiled riddles, and Bruce is solving them. And it's a very kind of sinister kind of, I know things you don't, Bruce, and Bruce being, I'm smarter than you. And, long story short, Bruce gets home, and the Red Hood Gang blow up his house, and he's apparently dead. So,
bloody gets, man.
I gotta admit though, the standout, part of this issue was, the bit of Alfred.
Yeah, that was really hard.
Very reminiscent of Dark Knight Rises, Michael Caine saying, I tried to protect you, but, and I haven't. No, it's older, but,
cheers,
yeah,
man.
no, it's, Alfred is basically saying to him, what you're doing is stupid. You could be doing so much more good if you was Bruce Wayne and you was back in charge of Wayne Enterprises. not going around doing this vigilante crap, you know, getting yourself beaten up. And Bruce is like, no, you know, this is what I need to do. You don't know anything, Alfred. And Alfred calls him a coward. And then Bruce calls him a coward. And then Alfred slaps him in the face. Boom!
That's amazing.
Yeah, and Bruce is like, oh, yeah, fine, you know, just get out. And Alfred's like, yeah, I'm leaving. And yeah, Alfred leaves. So Bruce is kind of all alone. And during the ending bit, just before he gets blown up, supposedly, he's kind of calling up Alfred, basically saying, you was right, Alfred. You know, the man who kind of practically, you know, raised me, it was right, and boom, explosion. So, would it be hilarious if Batman was actually dead?
That would be so funny. Year zero. Oh, he dies, by the way, guys.
Yeah, DC retcon Batman so that Batman was never actually Bruce Wayne. It was somebody completely different.
It was Tim Drake all along.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a massive kick in the teeth? But no,
great fans.
but yeah, no, other than that, really, really good. Definitely recommend picking up, and it's definitely kind of reignited my interest in Batman after the disappointment that was the last 2 issues of Death of the Family.
My one observation, this whole issue was set in 0 year rather than the post-apocalyptic Gotham that was hinted in the first issue. So I'm wondering if we'll get to see more of that.
Hopefully.
A Mad Max Batman on a dirt bike, saving kids who are fishing. It was really cool looking.
Yeah, I think that's maybe going to be like the new 52 equivalent of No Man's Land.
Mad Max.
The whole thing where I think it's No Man's Land where basically Gotham gets hit by an earthquake.
Yeah, that's it. That's brilliant. That series.
Yeah. So yeah, that's me done. Really. Woo! Who's next?
I'm up next.
Sarah,
go Sarah, take it away.
This week, I got Justice League 22, which is the start of the Trinity War. I mostly got it because I saw there's a huge kerfuffle on Twitter about some of the events in this issue, which intrigued me. So, given I haven't been reading a lot of the other Justice League, or any the Justice League or Justice League America or Justice League Dark, I think that's all of them. Not entirely certain what's been going on in the last few months. And this issue, it's not all over the place, but there's a lot of stuff going on in it. It starts off with some strange woman going to go see Madame Xanadu to have a tarot card reading, to find out a future. She's been having, I think, awful dreams or premonitions or something, and she wants to know what's going to be happening. So Madame Xanadu starts doing cards and gets some quite strange things coming up. And actually one of the highlights of this issue was actually the artwork on the cards that came up for this. They're all labelled as things like the boy or the warrior or the hero or the hostage or the detective, and all relating to different heroes. So the boy is, I should probably say Shazam, not Captain Marvel, even though in my head he's still Captain Marvel, and Billy Batson. The hero was Superman, the warrior was Wonder Woman, the detective is Batman, etc., etc. But the style of it is just really, really nice. Anyway, going back to the events of the story, throughout the rest of the issue, you cut between bits of Shazam and the rest of his mates in his adoption home, then to the Justice League of America, and then to Superman and Wonder Woman, obviously, and then the new sort of villain, Pandora. At least I think she's meant to be a villain. I'm not quite sure from context. I think she might be meant to be a misunderstood villain, maybe an anti-hero, we'll find out. And then bits about the Justice League, and then the Trinity, which referred to in the title of the event, which I think is Pandora, the Phantom Stranger, in question. So we've been reading something like that a while ago. They've been around since, I don't know, time immemorial or whatever. And at some point in it, Pandora goes to Superman and Wonder Woman and wants Superman to open the box that she's got, which let out all the original sin in the world eons ago, and is going on about how Superman is the purest person, and if he opens it, he can handle it and he can free humanity from all evil, etc., which isn't something I particularly got from previous incarnation of Superman, since he just seems to be a bit of a jerk. But in this one, he seems to be alright, probably because he hasn't got much screen time. Anyway, Superman opens the box and then goes a bit mental. I guess he can't handle it. He's not as pure as we think. He somehow gets over it. I think, yeah. So Wonder Woman, I think, helps him get over it. I don't really know. It's not entirely clear. But anyway, he gets better, which I guess is a boon. And then you end up in the desert of Kandak, which I think that's how you say it. Does anyone else know how you say it? Kandak? Anyone know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'd say you got it right there.
Yeah, let's just go with it.
Alright, Kandak. It's full of that now. And then you've got Captain Marvel / Shazam, the Justice League and Justice League of America, and obviously it's a bunch of superheroes together, so they have fights, because that's what these things do. You can't have it any other way. And then the thing happens which got Twitter completely sort of bonkers and twist. In that Superman, if you don't, just turn off now if you don't want to be spoiled for this, but he ends up killing Dr. Light, which, obviously with Man of Steel out however many weeks ago, sort of really pissed off a lot of people in this. Surprisingly, didn't piss me off. What I expected, I bought it, expecting to go a bit mental again at it. But it's quite clear in the book that actually it's not Superman who's actually done it. It looks like he's used his heat vision to incinerate Dr. Light, but there's commentary from Madame Xanadu sort of background overlaying it, saying, oh no, it's not Superman, he didn't do it, he's not responsible. And then at the end you get, who do you get at the end? You get the Outsider? I don't know who the Outsider is. Looks a bit like Alfred, I've no idea.
That's who the Outsider originally was. Alfred died and got resurrected as this weird monster.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, okay, obviously. Anyway, at the end of it he says, thanks to me, everyone will actually believe that Superman killed Dr. Light. So it's fairly clear that Superman didn't kill Dr. Light. I don't know how it worked out. It doesn't tell you why. I'm guessing it's either mind control, or it's a trick, or it's a doppelganger, or it's the architect of Pandora's box. Whatever. Either way, this issue was, I actually ended up quite enjoying it, and I haven't really enjoyed any Justice League issues since like number 6 or something. But this seemed to be fairly solid. It was quite nicely put together. Some of the art is lovely, but the lettering is really nice. I'm obviously getting more into my lettering than most people probably do. I really enjoyed it, and I'm probably going to end up getting the rest of the Trinity tie-in issues, which I think they're going across just Justice League America, and Justice League Dark. But yeah, it was fun. It wasn't what I expected at all. There's some really nice characterisation. Billy Batson / Shazam, that's really good in that. He's got the attitude of a boy in a man's body down really well. He punches Superman out. He thinks it's really cool, as you would if you were like 12, 14 and hit Superman and you were a bit of a jerk, which Billy Batson is. But yeah, it's nice. There wasn't really any horrible Superman Wonder Woman stuff, which was also quite nice. That has been what has annoyed me in previous issues. The new Atom seems quite interesting. Bits I've known of her, and it's the same of it. I thought it was actually quite a solid issue. But I'm probably going to get complaints about this. Because again, a lot of people really hated it. But Superman didn't kill him out of cold blood. He didn't do it. I think that's important to remember. What else did I read? I also... Sorry?
I just want to say, I for one know exactly how this whole Trinity War is going to end.
Yeah?
I've seen the future, and Batman wins.
Yeah, great. Don't want to read it now.
Yep, Batman. He throws a batarang at everybody and ties everybody up.
With a batarang.
Yep.
I think that should be Green Arrow doing that with Rogue Arrow.
Yep. Literally, Superman, Shazam, they can't handle it. But that's that. Sorry, go on.
Alright. Yeah, I don't like that ending. I'm hoping that won't be the ending, but it probably will be, since everybody just loves Batman. I think give some other characters a listen, maybe. But yeah, good start. I will be getting, I think we'll get the other issues. The other things I've been reading is I got 2 copies of Princeless this week. I think one actually came out a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't make it out of the comic shop. So we got the last issue of book 2, Get Over Yourself. So that's number 4. Which is so last issue we left Adrian, our heroine, at her sister Angelica's camp, and she just set Angelica's guardian free, not garden. And her guardian is this giant blue lion which can go solid or liquidy, I think. Or possibly ghostly. It's it is a mix. Anyway, it's obviously causing quite a lot of problems because it's quite vicious and is after all of them. At the start of the issue, we have a recap of Angelica's beautiful, beautiful life, which mostly consists of her being beautiful from the time she was a baby all the way through to being an adult, and she just starts to settle into it because she's so beautiful, she just lets everybody worship her. Which is, for some reason, I did actually have some sympathy for her for this, but yeah, she's a strange girl. We end up back in the camp at the present day. They've been trying to fight off this giant blue lion thing. Obviously she does. It's the book is about her. She managed to solve it with the help of some of the other camp villagers. It's a really good ending to this second series. The art is superb. It's really cartoony. It's lots of caricatures. There's a lot of humour in the art. It does the job of the storytelling as much as the dialogue. It's great. And everybody knows how much I love the series. I wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't like it. The end of the issue, we get a glimpse of what will be the feature of the next book, which is the goth sister, who I think is Angoisse. Can't speak French. If anybody wants to write in and correct me, that's absolutely fine. Anyway, she's like purple hair, skull, the symbol of life earrings, I think, like fishnet arm sleeves, lots of corsets and stuff, basically loafing in her castle. And then the final page, she's got a vampire coming up behind her. And this is, I think this is brilliant. The dude's got braids and little pink bows at the end of his hair. Which is, I didn't actually see it on the first read. I was reading it through again today.
It's a hardcore vampire.
Yeah. It's very funny. So, with the next issue, which was Tales of the Family Ash, as you'd expect, it's stories of a few of the family members. So you've got the story of how Angelica's dealing with the outcome of the issue where she got saved, where she decided she was going to be a slightly better person and do something to help other people. Because she's obviously moved on and learned a life lesson. She tries to sew a dress, she can't, she's got no skills, all she's done is be beautiful in her life. Of course she doesn't have any practical skills, but nobody's going to tell her she's doing it wrong because she's a princess and you tend to get your head chopped off if you start down criticising princesses. That was a nice little short. Then you've got one about Prince Ash, who's the father, meeting a peasant girl, who I assume is going to end up to be the mother of the Ash family. And then you've got a bit more story about Angoisse in her tower and the vampire, the pink ribboned vampire that is her sort of boyfriend. They're basically just coming up and trying to seduce her and chat her up. Is he a villain? Is he not? I don't know. The vampires normally say vampires are bad, but yeah, we'll see. It was a fun issue, and there's a few pin-ups in it, including one which is by the lady named Wilton Crossman, which is a picture of Adrian in armour going up a tower ready for action. It's really nicely done. I don't have the vocabulary to describe what sort of art it is. I'm just at a loss. I might scan it in and put it on the BAMF Facebook page, but it's really, really, really good. It's I'll do that. I'll scan it and stick it on the Facebook page. It's lovely. I don't really care for pin-ups, but I don't think they always bring a lot to the issue. I'd rather just have a page story, but this is actually really, really nice. Those are my reads this week.
Sounds awesome. With Princess, I'm letting them build up, but now there's a pink ribbon vampire, who, by the way, pink ribbon vampire, get its own series straight away. I'd read a book based on a pink ribbon-haired vampire.
Well, since the series is done in books, so each first 4 issues is one book and the second 4 issues are the next book, you do well to just read them 4 by 4 as they come out. You don't need to make them any longer than that. But go read it. Tell us what you think next week. Go on,
will do. Everyone read them.
Yes.
See?
Okay, so this week, lots of things. I'm going to start with Hawkeye 12. This week, by Fraction, obviously, and we've got Francesco Francavilla is back on artwork after his stint on issue 10. This issue 12 was much better than issue 10. I think anybody who listens to the show or anybody who speaks to me on Twitter would have known that I was a little bit disappointed with issue 10. I found it a little bit of a, dare I say it, a little bit messy and maybe all over the place, and wasn't quite sure of the tone of it and everything. But this is very much back in the sort of Hawkeye that we know and love, despite Arja not being on art. So in this issue, we discover that it was indeed Barney Barton that we saw in issue 11 a couple of weeks, the pizza dog issue, and he's come to visit Clint, and does look down on his luck, or as Bertie said a couple of weeks ago, looks like a bum. And this issue fleshes out some of the things that we saw in 11, and we find out why Barney ends up in an altercation with the tracksuit Draculas. Just a bit about Francovilla's art in this issue. He uses, like Arja does, in this issue, he uses a lot of multiple panels. So you'll get a lot of, 9 panel pages and that kind of thing. And it does keep with a lot of, as I said, like Arja stuff and a lot of what we've seen up until now. And it really works. He's done some really nice things with some of the panels. And the issue overall is really very good, and it was actually quite touching. We learn, as I was saying, why we don't know why Barney's there yet, but we know that Barney has arrived to come and see Clint. There's lots of things that happened that are sort of like little nods back to what's happened in some of the previous issues, just little things here and there, like the trying to flick the coin at the bottle, which we saw way back in issue 1, and things like that. It's just these little sort of like nods back to previous issues. What I really, really liked about this issue is there are some flashbacks to Barney and Clint's childhood. And so you see a little bit about what's gone on with their childhood and what happened with their parents and that kind of thing. And then that just makes the when we come back to the present, it just makes things sort of a little bit more poignant. And those flashbacks are so well done that they really make you care about the relationship between Barney and Clint in the present. And the end, I have to say, was so touching, so beautiful. I actually almost did cry. It was really, really beautifully done. It was really nice. Did you guys read it? Did anybody else read it?
I did.
Did you like it? So you were a little critical as well, along with me, about 10, weren't you?
Yeah, 10 didn't seem as fluid as the previous issues. This one did. This one seemed nice. I put issue 10 down to being, because it was about a clown, maybe the tone was that it was meant to be messy and a bit awkward and a bit like over the place. But this was really nice, really well done. Seemed, everything from the colours, I love how it was like an orange hue all over and then a blue hue for like the childhood scenes, well, and orange as well. But story-wise, I love brothers' stories. I love him. I'm from a family of brothers, so anything like that always gets to me. But yeah, it was darker than the others. You know, it didn't have the light-hearted tone that the others had. With the spoilers, parents dying in a car crash and Clint not really caring. Barney, I've got to admit, it was dark, but it was funny when Barney pays the tracksuit Draculas to beat him up. And then, because you got 2 minutes, they kick him in for 2 minutes, and he says, right, your 2 minutes are up, smiles, and then turns and beats all them up. It was just really good.
It was brilliant.
Just a quick thing. Tracksuit Draculas.
They're not actually Draculas.
Is that the bro guys? The Russian
bro guys.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Bro.
Why tracksuit Draculas? I'm just asking, kind of out of curiosity, because I keep hearing tracksuit Draculas, and I've got a weird image in my head. So
because they wear tracksuits, and I guess they sound like Dracula.
Okay.
I think it's a little sort of like joke to it's like a double pun. I think it's because they sound Eastern European, which Dracula traditionally does, and also because they sort of like feeding off other people. Off other people's misfortunes.
Okay.
Because he kind of coins that term, well, for it's Fraction that refers to them as the tracksuit Draculas, and he coins that term right in the first issue, where one of them is the landlord is trying to, like double the rent. If you remember that.
And doesn't Clint end up buying the whole building?
He does, yeah. And interestingly, well, with money that he got from Barney. Now, I don't know yet if Barney knows that Clint has this money. I don't I'm not sure. I can't remember whether he knows or not, because it was actually Zemo that gave it to Clint, I think. But yeah, I'm not sure whether Barney knows that he has it or not. But I think what this issue has done is set up really beautifully is what's to come between, you know, this relationship between the two brothers. So it's just set up really nicely that they haven't seen each other for a while. They're really pleased to see each other, but we know that there are lots and lots and lots of other things going on. So, you know, whether that relationship is going to stay harmonious or not, I am willing to put a bet on that it won't. But yeah, it was a really good issue. I really liked it, and up to the usual high standard of the series, and highly recommend it.
Yeah, I hope we get more of this. I hope that it does stay harmonious for at least a little while. I know that there's got to be this divergence between issues, so there's the Kate issues and the Clint issues.
Yeah.
And the one problem I did have with that is that Clint loses someone to bounce off of. Kate was that straight person that, you know, that bounced with him. But now if we got Barney there, then we've got that duo again, you know, the Clint saying something silly and then someone maybe putting him in his place, or maybe Barney's going to say something even more silly, which turns Clint into the straight guy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm really pleased to get this issue and more of this relationship. As I said, brotherly relationships, no matter if they're good ones or bad ones or going down the pan or whatever, I always seem to go to them a bit more. Yeah. And it also had a reference to the pizza dog issue, which was really good.
It did well. A lot of this is what's great about that, and I think we're going to continue to see this with the next 2 or 3 issues, is that there are little moments in this that obviously like flash back to Pizza Dog. So things where you saw a couple of panels and you weren't maybe quite sure what was going on in Pizza Dog are now getting fleshed out in subsequent issues. So, and I think we will see that again with issue 13 and onwards. So, very clever the way it's all being woven together, and the story is coming together. Very good. So leaving Hawkeye and moving on to another thing I read this week, which was Daredevil 28, which was by Mark Waid and Javier Rodriguez, who's normally a colorist, but he actually takes pencils on this issue and does a really, really good job. It's lovely. I'd like to see more of his art, not just the colours, but I'd like to see more of his pencils. He's a really great fill-in for Chris Samney, and works really, really well with the whole tone of the whole sort of feel, of the issues of the whole series up till now, and does nod back to Martin and stuff that we've seen before. I haven't really spoken enough about Wade's Daredevil on the show, I don't think. It is continually excellent. It is, every issue is of such high quality. It's such a good quality series, right from the first issue all the way through till now. And the good thing about this issue 28, is that it is a really good jumping on point. So I think if you haven't been reading it up till now, but you've been hearing good things and you haven't really been sure, now is the time to jump in, I think. And then when you find the time, go back and catch up with the rest of it. It's well worth it. It's a really, really good series. So this issue sees a childhood acquaintance of Matt Murdock's arriving at his law firm asking for help with something, because he's been set up for something that he didn't do. And as they weren't exactly friends when they were kids, Matt's kind of reluctant to help him out, but Matt Murdock, being Matt Murdock, agrees to help him because he can't really ever not do the right thing. And then so we see him, well, Matt explains that he doesn't really actually he doesn't provide counsel for people anymore because of the whole, is Matt Murdock Daredevil or isn't he, and the whole public perception. Everybody knows that he is, but he still sort of has to technically deny it. But what he does is he will then actually train people to be their own counsel. So this is what he does. And then we see, a court case, and then events unfold from there, and it's sort of setting up a new arc, I think, this issue. But it's a really, really solid issue, really well told, really great pace, really tight storytelling, and I really can't recommend it enough. And as I said, if you haven't been reading it up until now and you've just been thinking about it, then issue 28, great place to start. But if you can, as I said, go all the way back to the beginning. There must be, a fair few trades out by now. Get hold of them. You'd be doing yourself a favour, trust me. And then just moving on to the last thing, which is Young Avengers issue 7, by Gillen and McKelvey. Me and Bertie spoke about issue 6 a couple of weeks ago, and about how much we really are loving this series, and that for me, probably after Hawkeye, this has actually moved up to probably be my second favourite current series that I'm reading altogether. This issue ties into events from all of the previous issues and with those of issue 6, and brings Prodigy, who we saw in 6, together with the rest of the Young Avengers. And what the best thing about this issue for me is there's some real imaginative use of the comics medium again, like things that we keep seeing in Hawkeye as well, but really imaginative use of the art and panels and stuff. Just a few things to mention. Again, there's a whole page dedicated to sort of like snippets of the team's Twitter conversations, set out sort of like as if they're separate panels across the page, and it's very funny and really well done, and a good kind of way of exploring that the team is a team full of young people, I think. And the title page is done as a diner menu, just a little thing but a really nice touch. There's a really nice double page spread as well, and then for me, a special mention to the penultimate page, which follows on from America Chavez, who's just been up until that point being awesome, shows the best way ever of moving throughout the multiverse ever. It's just really well done, and it's so good, and it's so visual. We want to share it with our readers, so I'm going to put it on our brand new Tumblr, and I'm going to tag it as BAMF Panel of the Week. So it'll be hashtag BAMF, that's BAMF, POTW for Panel of the Week. But go and look at our brand new Tumblr page, which is Radio BAMF. You should be able to find us there. Come follow us, come reblog us, come share your stuff with us. We'd love to see what you've got to show us. But yeah, check it out. Brilliant issue. Really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Really good. I love that she kicks. Basically, the way she travels, I mentioned, she just kicks something in. That's how she does it.
She's just. I've said it before, but America Chavez is just a brilliant character. She's just so great, and she's so. We were talking about me and Bertie were talking about this the other day about how she's such a sexy female character, but in all the right kinds of ways, because she's drawn like a real actual person. Like she wears real actual clothes that young women would actually wear. So her superhero outfit is just brilliant. And it's really great to see people, going to cons dressed up as her and everything, because all they have to do is throw on a pair of boots, pair of cut off jeans, and a jacket, a denim jacket and a hoodie, and with a few sort of like American themes going on there, the stars and the stripes and stuff. But it's just really, really well done. And she's a really great can't wait to learn more about her and everything, because she's the only one who doesn't really have a proper backstory yet. So, can't wait to find out more.
Same here. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys what I've been reading. So I'm going to pinpoint 2 books this week. First one, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, written by Gerard Way and Sean Simon, and art by Becky Cloonan. This is the second issue in the, I think it was mini-series, ongoing series, I can't actually remember now. And beautiful issue. Becky Cloonan's art is always beautiful, but this seems to be even more beautiful. Story-wise, still a bit confused to where it's going. I feel that this whole story in general, if you know of the recent album that My Chemical Romance released, think it was Danger Days, you kind of get a feel for what who the Killjoys are, because in this book there aren't actually the Killjoys. It's more of what happens after the Killjoys, after they get extinguished, and there's some flashbacks to who they were, which you can see in their videos for the music videos with Grant Morrison in, and the stories, and also the kids that this story follows. So I feel like you kind of need that to get more of the story. You don't definitely need it, but it does help. But yeah, I'm not too sure where it's going. In the desert, there's two parts of this story. There's the desert, and then there's the Battery City. And in the desert, you're following this kid who used to go around with the Killjoys, being protected by them until they all got wiped out. And now she's been found by a member of the Killjoys that wasn't there on the night of the Killjoys' deaths. But he has a plan to, it seems like, resurrect them by bringing back what they had, their costumes, their guns, their masks, put them all together, and it will do some kind of ritual or something. This is what I'm getting from it anyway. And so he's trying to do that while the girl is trying to get into Battery City with this other group of people that are posing as or inspired by Killjoys to storm Battery City, which is made out to be this lovely place where everyone can live happily and clean and healthy. But it's actually really more like a prison where people have to do what they're told. There's a curfew, and if you don't, you suddenly get disappeared. And also, if you're an android, there's a really cool scene, a few pages long, where this one particular android goes to, seems like, think of, I don't know, like the council offices or the DMV if you're American, where you've got to be in queue after queue, filling out form after form, and she keeps getting bumped around. All she wants is a replacement heart. Technically, I'll just call it a heart for a friend of hers. And she keeps getting bumped over. Go to floor 37, go to floor 7, go to floor 2, whatever. Keeps getting bumped, and then finally she goes to this one floor where it's just an empty room. This android is in a booth with cobwebs and spiders all over it, and it basically just goes, "We're shutting your friend down. Thanks for letting us know that she's useless. We're going to turn her into a satellite so she can watch over everyone," and basically be turned into a weapon for Battery City. And it's the expressions on the face of the android and all that, it just really sort of gets you that this is a shit place. Which I love the world that is being built here. I'm kind of stumbling on it because I'm trying to find good ways of describing it. But I love the world that is being built. Battery City it's got a slums where these robots are basically hobos with missing pieces, and they're living under newspapers and blankets, and they're covered in their own oil matter. And it's got Grant Morrison in, which is always fun, because it has got Grant Morrison in, which, spoilers, it's revealed that Grant Morrison, I think, has got a boyfriend in this. It seems like Grant Morrison is gay. Someone take that as a soundbite, turn it into some kind of vine or something, I don't know.
Sure, he'd be very happy about it.
Hey man, it's not such a bad thing. But there's a weird backstory with him. It seems like it opens with a little kid showing a picture to his dad of him and his family, and the dad gets angry and slaps the kid, and it makes out as if it was Grant Morrison's character as a kid. And I'm just really confused by it. Me and Dan were talking. We are sort of confused by where it's all going, but we can't help but love the world that is being built. I'm going to stick with it for issue 3 and onwards, just so hopefully it builds into something that I'm not confused by. And also because the art, I can't turn away from good art. I'm a bit weird. I will read a book if the art is really good and the story makes no sense, just for the art. Hence why I've read so much weird stuff that I'm confused about, i.e. the Avengers. But yeah, I'd recommend it. I'd recommend it maybe as like a couple issue build up, so you've got that like fluid read rather than monthly weird what is going on this. But yeah, definitely check that out. And my second book is another Valiant book, because last week I was on a nice big Valiant spree full of Exo Man of War and Archer and Armstrong. And this week I found my new favourite Valiant book, Quantum and Woody. Okay? And this book, team is James Asmus, Tom Fowler, and colours by Geordie Belair. Oh my days, this book is hilarious. It follows two brothers They're adopted brothers. One is born as a biological son of a scientist. The other one's adopted. One is African American. One is white and blonde. And it's basically they start off. They're in complete love with each other, not in a brotherly way, not in a homosexual way. They love each other. They care for each other. Always got each other's back. But then they drift apart as adults. They seem to hate each other even. But they're brought together because of the death of their dad. Their dad's research has got them in line with the wrong people, and that has brought together the sons to find out what has happened. And just so you know, I'm going to call him Quantum because that seems to be his code name. Is a straight-laced guy, seems to be trying to be some kind of hero. There's a scene in the diner where he's ordering breakfast. A man walks in, says this is a stick up to the waitress, give me all your money. Quantum tasers don't even taser him, sorry, throws a glass in his head, tasers him. Then the waitress shouts at him, what are you doing to my boyfriend? He's playing around. So he's not a very good hero, but he's trying to be. And then you've got Woody, who is a sleazeball fraudster, which has the best scene ever. He wakes up in bed in a hotel with a girl. Then there's a knock on the door. Turns out the credit card was declined by fraud. While the girls at the door are all confused with the two gentlemen security from the hotel, Woody's jumping out the window, leaving the girl with the bill. Which is classic escapism right there. I recommend doing that. Saves you loads of money. But yeah. So they end up going into a research facility, trying to find out what happened. Woody, like an idiot, stumbles into this machine the dad built, makes his brother press a button. Some weird electrical stuff and shiny, glowy niceness starts going on, and they basically get vaporized. As you do, as your two brothers in a research facility with one suit, fighting over the one hazmat suit. And then they end up getting vaporized. Police are after them because they're suspects for their father's murder. And the last page is a really cool panel where they seem to be rematerializing, but like they've got chunks missing out of them where their body isn't fully formed. And Woody's looking at his hand, and from our perspective, you can see the people behind it, but it's sort of glowing at the same time. Really, really beautiful art, I've got to say. Such a weird, cool story about these two cock-ups, but one's not a cock-up, but is made into a cock-up because of his cock-up brother. How many times did I say cock-up, guys? Count now. Yeah, just really fun book. I really recommend this. Valiant, I can't say enough about Valiant. It's really just smacking it out of the park. And this one, Quantum and Woody, is my favourite. And it's got a goat on the cover, eating a book, and he doesn't even appear in the book. That's how good it is. They can put a goat on the cover, and you don't mind it not being there. But yeah, no, seriously, really, really, really good book. Recommend it. Nice little mystery, and comedy in there. Woody's a douche, while Quantum is a bit of a douche to Woody. And again, it's a brother story. I'm sucker for brother stories, even adoptive ones. It's just nice. Go read it. Valiant is the best. Sorry, Marvel and Image and DC and Dark Horse, but Valiant's leaving you in the dust. Fee, I believe we've got a winner competition. Do you want to let us know who it is?
Yep. Okay. Right. The winner of the competition is Andre Oldfield on Facebook. What he did, he created a superhero, and his superhero was called Soul Man. Okay, right. And his superpower was the ability to make people's feet wet.
I'm a soul man.
I don't even think it's Soul Man. I think it's in like soul as in SOLE, as in like the sole of your foot. And his whole thing is that he would take down like the best Supermans by making their feet wet and making them go, oh god, my feet are wet, before getting punched in the face.
What is this? Oh man, I'm gonna get trench foot. Bang! In the face.
So yeah, Soul Man with the ability to make people's feet wet.
Well done. He's a 12-year-old winner. We're going to send him Black Kiss 2 issue 1. Thank you very much.
Time for mystery comics, guys.
Woo 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 woo.
Well, thank you, Bert. This week there was a little bit of a change up to who chose the mystery comics, which will be happening over the next 4 or 5 weeks or so, where one of us will be choosing the mystery comics for the rest of the team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the mystery comics that I chose for this week, quickly why I chose them, and then we can get started. So first up is there was a Thanos miniseries that took place kind of like building up into Annihilation, and spoilers as well, kind of first introduced the Hunger, which is a big thing that is going to be coming up in Marvel now. And the issues I chose I think issues 3 to 6, because it's basically Thanos vs Galactus, and it's just one of my my favorite kind of like scenes, which is Thanos shoot Galactus with a laser from his hand and making him bald. But yeah, so there's that. Next up is Dr. McNinja, which is a webcomic by a dude called Chris Hastings, and it's like if Deadpool was Batman and a doctor and a ninja. And so I just picked out my favorite issue, which was the first one I ever read, which was Monster Mart, which I absolutely love. Next up is The Ultimates, which I chose because I genuinely couldn't think of anything else for you guys to read, so I had to kind of cheat a little bit and get the Dan to quickly give me an idea. So I've read this one recently as well. So yeah, let's go.
Okay, who wants to start?
Bert can start.
Okay, I'll start. Yeah, all right. I'll start with the Ultimates because I wasn't a big fan of the Ultimates in the Ultimate Universe. I always had a problem with that. It was just too similar to the 616 to be considered anything good. It just seemed like, here's the Avengers in modern times. Here's the X-Men in modern times. But recently, with the shake-ups, it started to feel like a really good multiple Earth story that can go up there with Squadron Supreme and Earth X, where things are drastically different. And in this particular issues that we got, Mr. Fantastic is evil. But like, not even like, evil. He's a boss. He's taken over. He's fixing the world. And everything has gone right because of him. And he's got two Infinity Gauntlets. He's trying to find the gems. And there's some really weird ideas out there. Instead of going around space, in the Ultimate Universe, the gems are made on Earth. And spoilers for all this. So they're all made on Earth, and he's going around getting them. He's teamed up with Bruce Banner Hulk. He's got Quicksilver and a female Kang from the future on his side. And they're just messing stuff up. And it's really cool, multiple Earth story sort of thing. I say multiple Earths, it's only got one Earth, it's Ultimate, but I'm saying alternate universe story. Really, really cool because of the differences. I love seeing, originally I hated seeing the Ultimates because it was just like, what if Cap was a bit grumpy, and what if Iron Man was even more of a dick, and what if Thor was bearded, but now
still
it's like, yeah, but now it's like, no, how about if we have Tony Stark with a little Tony Stark in his mind? What if we have Thor?
Can someone explain to me what on earth that was about? I mean, I know it was explained in the issue, but what was the explanation before? We got to that bit and was like, I don't understand. What's a sentient tumour? I don't get it.
I wish I could help, but
it's a tumour that can speak to you.
Yeah, there you go. It's a tumour that can speak to you.
It tells you, hey, you've got a tumour. Oh, thanks, mini tumour.
High five.
What's the role with the armour then?
Huh?
Would it seem to have a role with the sentient tumour helping get the armour together or something?
I took it as like an ultimate twist on the extremist armour.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, the extremist armour, never mind, it's a long story, but he's linked up to his own network so he can control the armour remotely.
Was that in the latest film?
Yeah, but it's also a story that the film is slightly based on. Sarah, I'm going to teach you so much off of air.
Yeah, good luck with that.
We're going to have an Iron Man lesson. I'm going to get a blackboard and a hat and everything.
I don't like Iron Man that much. I like the
film. Alright then, fine, I won't teach you Iron Man. Jeez, okay.
But go on, Bo, continue the comic.
Anyway. So yeah, I love the ideas of it. I love Evil Miss Fantastic. I love Quicksilver. There's a really cool scene. I'm going to just say, Quicksilver messes someone up with an envelope. I'm running around them so quick, he gives them loads of paper cuts.
That was great.
That sounds fantastic.
That was so cool. I just love the idea. I love the differences. I love that Captain America isn't just a douchebag now. Because I've just got previous issues a little while ago. He was made president and then turned down the presidentship. By the way, guys, just so you know this. Yeah. Yeah, he saved America, and then everyone in America went, "You're president." He was like, "Yeah, no."
I thought he was president. Oh, okay. I thought he was president from the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, and I just read that going, "This is ridiculous. Don't make him president."
All the same universe. It's Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just really kind of liking, sort of in love with the Ultimate Universe. I mean, just because of these brilliant differences and the brilliant ideas, I really recommend it. And I'm kind of interested in, there's obviously the Hunger coming that takes place in the Ultimate Universe. You've got the Infinity Gauntlet stuff, and then you've got Thanos stuff in 616. So I'm really excited to see if we might even get a crossover between the 616 and the Ultimates, which to me, with the current Ultimates, sounds really good because they're two different universes. Before, I would have been like, go away, we're just seeing two of the same things get together, but now they're just different, which is brilliant.
Hasn't Age of Ultron combined the two universes somehow?
No, it just shattered some timelines, so stuff from the future can come to the present.
I thought he. Okay, I thought he.
And I don't know what's happened with the Galactus and the Ultimate. I don't know how time shattering has done that. I'm guessing we'll be explaining the Hunger.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, what did you guys think of Age of Ultron? Not Age of Ultron. Simple as that.
Let's not go there
Let's not go there again. Yeah. What do you think of the Ultimates?
I didn't like it, but then that's not exactly fair. Like you, Bertie, I am not. I've never been a fan of the Ultimate Universe because I like the 616. To me, the 616 is how it should be, how it is. I'm not really interested in a whole big what if, which is basically what the Ultimate Universe is. So I'd always actively avoided it. It's just not for me. I actually only a few months ago went and read the original Ultimates, Mark Millar's original Ultimate series. And it was alright, but it is for me just like one big what if. I've been hearing a lot of people saying that everything that's going on in the Ultimate Universe at the moment is all a bit messed up, and lots of people weren't really enjoying where it was going anymore. So I came to this sort of not really knowing what was going on. The only other Ultimate thing I've been reading up to this point is Ultimate Spider-Man. And that was only because I was made to read that for the show. And I have been enjoying parts of Ultimate Spider-Man and everything, and I sort of kept up with it after reading it all. But I just can't care about these characters because for me they're not the characters. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not the characters that I know and love, because they can be messed about with and you can do whatever you want to them and it doesn't really matter. So I sort of started reading this and it's like, yeah, evil Mr. Fantastic, I don't care. Oh, Tony's got the top of his head cut off, I don't care. I mean, if this story had been with other characters, I would probably have been a lot more interested in it, if you get what I mean. But I just can't really bring myself to care about a big what if story. And if with what happened at the end, Age of Ultron, is one of the theories is that Galactus has shown up, or the Hunger has shown up and decides to eat the entire universe. Well, that wouldn't be a bad thing as far as I'm concerned. Get rid of it. Bye bye. What did you think, Sarah?
People call me the evil, sadistic, world-eating one. No. Screw you, Ultimate Universe. I don't mind if Galactus kills you all. Yeah.
I don't, because they're not real. Whereas everybody in the 616 is actually real. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right, go on, Sarah.
I quite liked it. It mostly threw up a lot of questions for me because I haven't read any Ultimates one since, and it was probably the one thing you mentioned, the Mark Millar one. I don't know, it was out several years ago. I got the first few trades. It was alright. I was a bit surprised, but I thought I might try and get me into more Marvel stuff, but it obviously didn't take. So when I was reading this, I was just going, why is Reed Richards evil? Why has his hair colour changed? Why has Tony Stark got a sentient tumour in his head? How has that happened? I was pleased to see that Thor is still beardy. That's always good. But why is he not a god anymore? I mean, they did sort of explain that, but I Gallery getting his powers from his armour or something that he's wearing, or his power suit or whatever. Nick Fury didn't show up for a while, and there was a lady, Monica, who thought might have something been in charge or had something to do with Nick Fury's role. I don't know. So I sort of enjoyed it. It was fun. But I am just curious as to how everybody has got to this point. Not curious enough to go and read the previous issues, and not curious enough probably to read any future issues. I am reading Up with Spider-Man, and I do like that, and I'll keep reading that. But I mean, it's probably something to do with the whole. It's the Avengers, isn't it? That they're called the Ultimates in this universe, and I'm not interested in picking up any Avengers comics from the 616 universe at all. So the Ultimates is a bit more interesting, and while I'll enjoy anything which I'm given, it's not going to make me keep reading it. If that's remotely clear, I think I've just babbled.
Well, yeah, go on.
Oh no, I was only going to say something else. Then you go.
Judging as this is because this is the only one that I haven't actually read beforehand, so I'll quickly give my views on it. I really liked it. Kind of. I really like Evil Mr. Fantastic. That's kind of like got to be my number one point. And there's this whole bit that Dan actually pointed out to me that kind of made me want to choose this comic, where he's kind of like fighting Sue Storm at the same time as doing his stuff on a computer. He's kind of like stretched his body into kind of like this weird mishmash of hands and like a whole other half of his face. And I just thought it was really cool. But go on. So let's move on to the next one. What did you guys think of Dr. McNinja? Go on, Bert. You start.
It was hilarious, okay? The bit I read opened up with him fighting the giant, I can't remember his name right now, bloody hell, giant legend of the American lumberjack with the blue ox.
Uh-huh.
And he jumps onto it with a cure. He just calls it a cure. Sprays it on his face. A beard falls off of this man. This man then shrinks into a little girl who then turns out to have a disease linked to the legend of this man. And by growing facial hair, she turns into a giant lumberjack. That sold it, okay? I don't know what it was. Lumberjacking is a disease, apparently. And it makes you into a big giant man, even if you're a little girl. And it was hilarious. And his psychic is a 14-year-old kid who grew his own moustache through force of will, who drives a raptor.
Exactly. You see why it's awesome.
It's just so, like, yes. Okay, I don't care if someone goes, this is all childish. So what? It's meant to be.
Funny enough, right? Okay, just a quick little fun fact. The guy who writes it, Chris Hastings, he gets most of the ideas from his little brother, I believe. I think I was told that by Dan. His little brother basically, thinks of these things. He's like, that's pretty cool. I'm going to write that.
And you can see it. Which also makes me really upset that I have similar ideas and I'm 21. Awkward silence. Anyway, I'm ignoring that bit. No, it's brilliant, okay? I really recommend it. Free online, it's a digital comic, go read it. It's a 14-year-old kid who grew his own moustache through force of will. Okay? That's all you need. And it's a doctor and a ninja. He kills with one hand, heals with the other. Okay? That's all you need. Just guys, talk about it. It's just so good.
Well, I was by page 3, right, a dinosaur turns up, and I think you guys are all quite familiar with my views on dinosaurs in comics. It's just complete opposite view to Sarah's. I hate dinosaurs in comics. And like the police officer in the bottom corner panel of page 3, where he says, "Oh, forget this, I don't do dinosaurs." I thought, I'm with you, mate. But, I carried on reading, and then it was a good job I did, because I laughed so much. It's so funny. It's so stupid, but in the best possible way. It is absolutely ridiculous, but really, really, really funny. And if you don't enjoy it in some kind of way or find it funny, then genuinely you must have had a sense of humour bypass, because it's just really funny. I mean, preposterous, ridiculous, stupid, but hilarious. Go and read it. Really funny. So what did you think, Sarah?
I think I've had a sense of humour bypass.
Oh man.
I just found it, even the dinosaur didn't save it for me. I was a bit interested in the first few pages, but then I just found it really gimmicky, and I just wasn't really interested. I did read all of it, but I just went, the end of it went meh. But I am well known for not having a very good sense of humour, so I'm perfectly willing to put it down to that.
Well, to echo what Dr. McNinja himself says on page 7 in the 4th panel, with thumbs down, boo! That's my favourite panel from the whole thing, I think.
Okie doke. Alright, shall we move on to Thanos then?
Yes.
Yeah, right, go on, Bert.
Okay, so it was a little weird because it was like it didn't read like it was from a little while ago. The creative team is Jim Starlin and Al Milgrom, who are old-time creators. Starlin, in fact, created Thanos himself. So it reads really wordy, and is what is on the page that you're seeing. They're telling you it's that classic thing of like, oh, if I punch him in the face and you're seeing it happen, then I kick him in the balls and then you see it happen. Then I can beat him with an energy blast and you see it happen. But if you get past that, it's actually not bad. I really like this whole, like, I love the classic sensibility of Thanos and the way they speak and Galactus. And then you get these beautiful double page spreads by Al Milgrom, which to some people's eyes might look dated and odd, but for me, I look at it and be like, this is like old school stuff with the big epic space battles and blasting till you're bald and kicking you in the face and moon blasting and just weird stuff. And then you get Pip the Troll, who I swear to God, if I want to slap him in the face, that ugly bastard. But yeah, it's just, so it was real fun read. It's nothing like hard hitting or dramatic or big ideas, but it's fun. You read it and you're like, okay, I came away with it with a sense of, now I want to go read some Galactus and Thanos stories, which hopefully I'll get something similar to that. Obviously a more maybe modernised version in Infinity and Hunger. Really good. I really recommend it, especially seeing as it does link to the Hunger. I was reading it, they were talking about the Hunger shows up, and all the while I was thinking, oh, the Hunger, that sounds really familiar. Like an idiot, I didn't realise the Hunger buddy's coming soon. Like some fool I am. But that's me all over really, isn't it? Anyway, I really liked it, but it's just really wordy. And with someone with such a short attention span, it's a little bit hard to do. But it had pretty pictures. Fee, what did you think?
It's funny actually that you should choose this, Lucas, because I actually just read this whole series
okay.
a few weeks ago in my bid to read all of the Marvel space stuff, which is something that you've just done as well. Lots of stuff I had read before. I've read bits of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'd read parts of Annihilation. But what I'm trying to do is start right at the very beginning with this Thanos series and work my way through and include all of the mini-series and everything, and all of the stuff that I missed last time, to bring me right up until the present. I'm nowhere near finished because I've been really slow, but I'm going to get a move on now as the summer holidays. So I had just read this. So this is a 12-issue series. So the first few issues of which you'd selected for us were based on Thanos and Galactus and the Hunger. And then the second 6 issue, the last sort of 6 issues, are focused more on we meet like Star-Lord for the first time, and it's a different story. I actually preferred the second half of the series overall than I did this first half, but I did enjoy it, and it does set a lot up, and I think I'm glad that I read it, because I think coming into Infinity and Hunger and stuff, I'm definitely going to have a better understanding about what's going on. The one thing that I don't like, or I didn't like very much, was like the Hunger itself is drawn as like basically like a jack-o'-lantern in the dark.
Yeah, no, it's a really weird kind of design, but I suppose because it eats realities, it doesn't really have a form.
It doesn't really have a form, but the way that it's drawn is just like but the thing is, it just looks too comedic to be intimidating or scary.
I think it
in
looks
any
like
way.
a bit of like orange paint thrown on a wall.
Yeah, it's just.
I actually really liked the design. I thought it fitted in well. I thought the whole comic had quite a Silver Agey feel with like all the exposition and the referring to each other in the third person, and it all just felt a bit daft, really. But with the drawing of the way the hunger was drawn, I thought that fitted in great. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I just don't know if it's going to work with the modern. I understand what you're saying, and you take it for what it is. And I agree with you, actually, Sarah. I thought it sort of read and felt a bit more Silver Agey, a little bit older than it actually is. The whole series is from 2003, 2004. So only 10 years ago. But does feel definitely older than that. The dialogue, I think it was Birdie? Who's Birdie?
Birdie. That is what everyone in Turkey calls me, Birdie.
Okay, well, let's go with it. As Bertie was saying, that it's very wordy, but as a lot of these kind of things were from around this time and previously, you do have a lot of this sort of like wordy exposition and stuff. But I don't know. I'll have to wait and see what they do with all of this new stuff and how they're going to represent it. I don't think you'll see the exact same representation because I just don't think that would work in a modern day comic. But we'll see. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think if anybody hasn't read it and is thinking of reading all the Infinity stuff and everything, then definitely go back and read it. And if you can track down the whole series, all 12 issues, then I'd say definitely go for it. Because for me, the second half, as I said, the last 6 issues for me were better than the first 6. So yeah, that's just my thoughts.
Fair enough.
Okay.
What did you think, Sarah?
Good mystery comic.
Well, yeah, it was. As I said, it's got that Silver Agey feel, which I used to absolutely hate that. It just felt so old-fashioned and awful. But I did quite enjoy it this time round. I've got more used to reading that. I mean, I've read a lot of old DC Silver Age stuff, so yeah, I've got more used to taking it for what it is. It was written for kids at the time, and it's just meant to be fun, which is fine. And this did feel like it was channeling that, but with this modern edge to it. I didn't come out of it after finishing reading it. I didn't actually care for Thanos at all. I did quite like Galactus in it. I mean, I haven't really read either of these two guys before. I knew Galactus, but I never heard of Thanos. I don't really know how it fits in with the rest of Marvel. So what Phil was saying about how it fit in modern context, I've got no idea. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It felt a bit fluffy, but that's sometimes just what I want. So yeah, it was good. Glad I read it.
Okay, well, my favourite thing about it is just there's that issue when Galactus kind of explains why he's doing it. He kind of narrates it as he's going about his plan, collecting the Infinity Gems. And I just really like how it kind of humanises, the World Eater. I just think it's really nice to kind of see, that Galactus, underneath all of that, he doesn't really, want to eat all these planets. He doesn't want to be that guy who goes around the galaxy consuming shit. So,
and he's bald.
Yeah, and he's bald. But I just, my favourite thing, like, across those 3 issues, just one of my favourite panels in comics, is when Thanos kind of lasers Galactus, and he ends up with his helmet off, kind of bald and smoking. And it's just, I just call it the pimp laser.
Yes, that is cool.
There's only one other situation when there's been a pimp laser, which is in the Infinity Gauntlet run, actually, when Doctor Doom pimp lasers Silver Surfer, which is absolute quality, which you guys should definitely read. But yeah, question
Jason
time!
Statham with Galactus.
Question time!
Okay, questions. Right, so I've got one for you guys this week, just because we're running short of time, so I'm just gonna throw this one out there. Okay, this is from at P60M on Twitter, and he asks, who do you think would benefit from the Hawkeye treatment? And so what he means by that, who would be a good character for a revival, so for a different treatment, if you like. So like a long-standing character that we're already familiar with, but maybe deserves a brand new book with not a reboot, but a fresh start and maybe a different spin on the character. So I'll start actually, because I was thinking about this. For me, with X Factor coming to a close soon, which I'm very upset about. I shall talk more about this when the last few issues start coming. One thing that is worrying me about what's going to happen to my beloved Jamie Madrox, because without an X Factor book or an X Factor team, where's he going to go? It's been done before. He's had his own series before, which is not bad. And if anybody hasn't read it, go check it out. It's pretty good. But I think I think he could be done really, really, really well as a solo character with sort of like other guests coming into his book. And, you know, maybe sort of like going down the lone private eye, route, which we've seen him go down before. And I'd really love to see him have his own book. And as much as I absolutely love and have loved Peter David writing him, maybe it would be nice to see somebody else, you know, give him a go. To be honest with you, I'd love to see Fraction write him. But, you know, I know that's not going to happen, but in my ideal world, that's what I'd like. So for me, Jamie Madrox, multiple man. So, Lucas?
Yeah, okay, right, first of all, right, how about Batman or Superman? Like, you know, because they definitely need another book.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they haven't got enough books.
Yeah, I was hoping that joke wouldn't fall flat. Alright, okay, no, but, seriously, I can't really think of a comic I'd want redone. What I would like is just to put certain characters in Clint's situation in the Hawkeye book in general, kind of going off the question, and just have it that way, as a kind of like I just want everything done kind of Matt Fraction style. So, put Batman in that situation, like not being able to pay the rent on a building. That's what I would like, but I can't really think of any kind of comical character I would like given a reboot. I'm kind of fine with everything as it is. Most reboots these days tend to kind of really disappoint me, so.
Okay. This one was kind of almost done a little while ago, but then they've steered it into the same direction it was going before, was Doctor Strange. A little while ago, there was the heroic age where he wasn't Sorcerer Supreme anymore, so he was just chilling out in a nice suit. He got into Defenders and was like this judo magic guy, and he was smart but not like scary smart. It was cool. It was like a really cool direction. Now they've gone, no, he's back to normal. He's got all the other shit he's had before. I would like to see that again. That down to earth, not so floaty, scary guy. Do you know? Not the dark arts master, but the judo James Bond with a handlebar moustache.
Judo magic!
But did you see what I posted up on Twitter last week about the Doctor Strange film?
No.
That's already out there. That's already been done. It's on YouTube.
Oh, hang on a minute. Was this the one with the curly haired guy from the 70s?
Yeah.
It looked like a really bad porn movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's disgraceful.
I'm going to post the link up for our followers in case anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like that. When I say handlebar moustache, I'm not saying 70s porn. I'm saying cool, like, let's not say handlebar moustache. Let's say Tom Selleck from that, Magnum PI, Hawaiian t-shirt, chilling out with his mate. That's what I wanted in Doctor Strange. Just that, smoking a cigar. Like what?
So, I'll just like clarify, like, quickly sort that out for everybody who doesn't quite understand what Bert just said. He wants a Doctor Strange porn comic, okay? Right.
Thanks,
Who wouldn't
Lucas.
buy that?
You mug.
Yep.
You're a mug.
Fantasy. Go on, Sarah.
Yeah, alright, yeah, I saw that question, and then I thought, well, you know what, all my characters were already rebooted, like a couple of years ago, and barring about 4 of them, I'm not that impressed. So I think the only one I like at the moment is Animal Man and the Demon Knights series. The rest of them, I'd say you could pretty much reboot any of the other regular characters, in DC, and I'd be happy. Even go back, bring up some of the characters we lost with the New 52. That'd be good. Sorry, it's not a very positive response, but I'm still...
Well, just to clarify, the question wasn't about not rebooting a character, but like...
Give him a new direction.
Yeah, like taking a character that you're already familiar with, and not sort of like retelling their backstory or changing anything about them at all, but like, so like what Fraction's done with Hawkeye is focusing on on what he does when he's not being Avenger. So you get to learn more about that part of their lives. So
well, the thing is, I'm not that keen on most of the new interpretations of the DC stuff, and I'm not familiar enough with Marvel to say what we should look at. I mean, yeah, I look at a Wonder Woman book that was more about Wonder Woman. That'd be nice. But yeah.
How about a Wonder Woman story where they show her getting the money to pay for the tax and insurance on her invisible jet? Because them Amazon ain't making no money; they're just living off the land. Where is she paying for that? The insurance on that alone must be going through the roof. And how do you get someone to clean it? How do you get that in the car wash? Yeah,
you just ask Batman for a favour. You just say,
can you clean my jet?
Pay for my jet.
Over there. Where? Over there. Where? Are you having me on? No, clean my jet. It's over there. Get out of my face, woman. And then she beats him up. That is a story I just made there. Let's get writing. Who can draw stick figures? It's going to be easy to draw because you don't have to draw anything because it's an invisible jet. I'm the best. In your face.
Well, I think that brings us to the end of the show.
Right, okay. Right. Guys, it's that time where Lucas plays sad music in the background of me speaking.
Go.
He's playing Coronation Street then. Okay, so...
We had Emmerdale all last week.
Yeah.
I was actually going to go into Coronation Street.
Go for all the soaps. Okay, so...
next week, yes, Lucas?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Right. So this is goodbye from us. Don't forget you can find us on Twitter at Radio BAMF, Facebook BAMF Comic Book Radio, Tumblr Radio BAMF, and YouTube Radio BAMF. Like, subscribe, comment, review, love us, hate us, whatever. Just let us know. Tell your mates, and that's it from us. We're gonna go, all right? And stay away from Rob Liefeld because he's angry all the time.
Dun 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 dun.
I want some money for it, please. Bye.
www.wearearcade.com